Hi, so I want to take a quick look at the cast list for episode 9 to see what we can identify as what could be the likely outcome. Now, before I begin looking at the cast list, I want to discuss 3 points that I believe will feature in episode 9. Now, number 1 is Kylo Ren and Rey will continue to communicate because it was such a powerful and strong element in episode 8, The Last Jedi, where they could see each other, they could almost touch each other. So to stop that from happening in the last episode, I think will really be very disjointed. We need some sort of continuation over that. Whether J.J. Abrams likes that or not, I think it will still feature quite heavily in episode 9. Now, number 2 is some sort of appeasement surrounding the role of Holdo. Holdo was very controversial, where she committed the role of kamikaze and she killed herself to save her colleagues, and that was a very controversial role that she played. And number 3 is Canto Bight, where the Canto Bight was portrayed as very rich and very powerful character or aliens within Star Wars. But if a crime was committed against them, there'd be some sort of backlash from that. So there'd be some sort of police force that will look to seek some sort of reprisal against the resistance for the crimes that took place on Canto Bight. So I think those 3 elements could feature back in episode 9. Now, if we look at the cast list, the most notable one is Richard E. Grant. There's been a lot of talk of him playing Admiral Thrawn, which he's ruled out himself, and also Palpatine. But I think it's almost certain they won't feature either of those 2 characters. I think this will be a new and unique character that will jump on board episode 9. Now, if you look at Richard E. Grant's photo, he's got to that point in his career, in his image, where he could play 2 different characters. He could play a member of the Resistance or a member of the First Order. And I find that quite intriguing because I'm really hoping that's a plot line that's used in episode 9. Because that's what was heavily based in episode 3 in the first trilogy, where you couldn't really identify what the motivations of many characters was. It made it a lot more interesting, a lot more less predictable. And that's what they need to bring back in episode 9. The Last Jedi was a very weak storyline. Many of the characters appeared quite confused. For example, you had Kylo Ren, point where he was almost crying, yet he's meant to be this sort of replacement for Darth Vader. Darth Vader was strong and as solid as you can get, and then you got to this much weaker character in Kylo Ren that was almost crying or having these uncontrollable fits of rage. It was very demeaning to see a villain portrayed as that. It was just really appalling. So I think they used Richard E. Grant to add a sense of unpredictability back in Star Wars. So I'm really excited by that role. The next one is Dominic Monaghan. Now, he was obviously in Lord of the Rings trilogy, played a key role, and I think he'll be used as an alien. I think episode 9 needs a return to aliens. That is what Star Wars is heavily based on. If you have humans in Star Wars, that's not what Star Wars is based on. Why base a film or a story in space when there's no aliens? It's like Guardians of the Galaxy. If you took the aliens out of Guardians of the Galaxy, there'd be no story. And that's what they're doing with Star Wars. They're taking out the aliens from Star Wars. It is ridiculous. It's such a stupid idea. You might as well have Star Wars based on planet Earth, because if there's no aliens, it doesn't matter where it is. It's just ridiculous. I'm really hoping they bring back some really interesting alien characters. And I think Dominic has got the real acting skills to bring back a really interesting alien character. Now, I think this is the most obvious one, and perhaps the most controversial, and that's Keri Russell playing the role of Rey's mother. Now, she may not actually be Rey's biological mother. What can happen is that Kylo Ren uses the communication they have between each other, the Force communication, to try to really unsettle and really try to get into the mind of Rey. So, for example, Rey has nightmares or dreams where she starts to see her mother. And those are kind of like force projections by Kylo Ren. Really unsettle Rey, or to even find out where she is, almost like a homing beacon where Rey gives away her location, so the First Order can then track her down. So I think that could happen where Keri Russell isn't actually a biological mother, but instead like some sort of force projection that Kylo Ren uses to get into the mind of Rey on almost like a 24/7 basis. So Kylo Ren is able to communicate with Rey when she's awake, but also communicate with Rey when she's asleep, and really unsettle and really unnerve Rey. That could be quite a strong theme that we could see in episode 9. Now, the next one is Matt Smith, who obviously played Doctor Who. And if we look at Adam Driver and Matt Smith, they look very similar. They've got the dark hair, the very strong jaw, the dark eyes. Now, there's been a lot of talk of the Knights of Ren. So Matt Smith could play a Knight of Ren. But again, he could also play almost like a cameo role or a back role where he plays an alien. That is what's quite intriguing about Star Wars. When you see the cast list, it's not really obvious, but if we look at their appearances, they could be on the same team almost. So Matt Smith could play one of the knights who has a leading role in either supporting Kylo Ren or facing off against Kylo Ren. So that could be quite intriguing. So there's 4 actors that have been added to the cast list, which really open up the concept of Star Wars. It could be really key roles that make Star Wars exciting again. And I think that it really centres around Richard E. Grant. I think he will have a key role, which could be really intriguing because it goes back to the concept of Palpatine and being a Sith Lord. Where can he be trusted? What are his real motivations? That's what made Star Wars so exciting. And what was really taken out of Episode 8, where there was no real motivation for any of the characters and everything happened by mistake. Just 4 actors that are added to the cast list. If you have your own thoughts, please leave them in the comments below, and thank you for watching.